How can you be a pro-life Christian and yet be so pro-death? I want you to think about that. 1 Corinthians chapter 15 verse 26 says, "The last enemy that shall be destroyed is death." And yet, multiple times a day, sometimes dozens of times a day, Christians are partaking of death. They love death. They embrace death with a passion and reject life. Now, you may think I'm talking about the whole pro-life debate that goes on in political circles, but I'm talking about something different. Yes, you should value an unborn baby's life, and you should value the life of people who are born. But it doesn't just stop there. You should value the life of other sentient beings, such as the animals. How can you claim to be pro-life when the entirety of your eating habits, the clothes you wear, the products you buy, are products of death? Death and immense suffering and torment and true evil. That even people who are non-vegans would say the things going on in these meat plants and the farms, all these things are evil. Even they would admit that. But then they're so apathetic and so loyal to death, they've bowed the knee to death, that they don't even care. They don't make any changes to their lives. And you'll have people on the environmental scene that will talk about, oh, the world's about to end and there's all this going to happen and the floods and there's going to be all these awful things that are going to happen because of climate change. And yet they don't do the most basic thing and reject their embracing of death and become vegan. My friend, you can't love life and life more abundantly when day in and day out you embrace death. You bow the knee to the enemy, death. If you just step back from your cultural norms, and this is all it is, people have their fleshly lust, their taste buds, their palates tuned to dairy and eggs and animal flesh and all these things. That's the lust of the flesh. And then some of it is just cultural norms. Well, they've always eaten eggs. They've always drank milk and eaten cheese and eaten animal flesh. So they conform to this world. None of these things are Christian in nature. My friend, you need to rise up and be someone who's truly pro-life, truly loves life, and truly embraces life in other beings. Doesn't condemn it, doesn't want them to die, doesn't wish harm upon them. You shouldn't wish harm upon anything. And yet, every day, you reject Jesus by embracing death. You say, yes, I know you're the life giver, but I embrace death. I love animals dying, so I can eat them just because I like the taste. No health reason, no benefit to me at all. It actually hurts me, but I'm going to keep doing it because that's what my dad did. That's what my mommy did. And this kind of childish mentality of just doing stuff because it's culturally acceptable, doing stuff because your parents did. Be a person of character and substance. Grow up and make the right decision. You can't call yourself pro-life when your day is full of death. There's a popular saying, it's anonymous, it's been said by many people in different ways, but basically that to animals, humans are the devil. When you embrace death, and on your plate and on your back, and the products you use each day is products from animals dying and suffering, what could be more evil? What could be less Christ-like, less Christian than to embrace death and be pro-death? And that's what you are. You're not pro-life. Now, I'm saying this because I want to wake people up. I know this is a little bit abrasive. and harsh, but it needs to be because people don't listen. If you just tell them, oh, you should care about animals, oh, you should do the right thing, they will ignore it because their entire lives have been spent in this logical disconnect and hypocrisy, and they've never cared because they have pastors telling them, oh, let's have a buffet, and eating all this food all day long, and their lives are so dedicated to gluttony and cruelty to animals, they don't care. And you even have whole entire churches that will go out and do hunting trips and kill animals. Think about that. Killing animals, hunting, like Nimrod, the mighty hunter, going out and perpetrating their evil in the world and calling that church. Can you imagine that? And yet that goes on all over the place. So people won't listen to just a nice little pat in the back message encouraging them to do what's right because they haven't done what's right so far. They've completely ignored it, and they've actually done the exact opposite of what's right. And they've called that good. They've called evil good. So I want you to really stop and think about this today and pray about it and seek the Lord on this. Don't listen to cultural nonsense of people telling you, well, you need to eat meat, and what about plants? Plants are alive, and all this nonsense. Everybody knows plants are not sentient. Plants don't have families. They're not thinking in a conscious way like humans do, like animals do. We all know that. Don't embrace childishness. Grow up and think about things in a mature adult way. Be pro-life. Be truly pro-life. What harm is going to come from you doing right and being pro-life and giving up the ways of death? Giving up embracing death. The enemy of humanity, the enemy of animals, the enemy of creation, death. Stop embracing it and become truly pro-life. And I have to encourage you while you're watching this to understand that this is something you need to stop and do right now. Because too many people will put things off and they'll go right back to their apathetic lives where they're not thinking about anything besides themselves, where they're shoveling animals into their mouths and eating them, where all the cruelty and evil that they embrace gets reinforced by the churches they go to, by the people they associate with, because that's the cultural norm. That's the template for the world, is to embrace that evil and to embrace death and love death. That's not the template for Christianity, for being a person following after God's own heart. And I know these are hard words. These are hard sayings, just like Jesus had hard sayings. But this is something you have to stop and consider now. Don't just reject it immediately just because you have a fleshly lust for eggs or cheese or meat or whatever it may be. Really stop and think about this. Consider the place of your heart. Because if you immediately reject this, all you're saying is, I do not have a renewed mind. I embrace death. I don't even consider the possibility of embracing life. That's what you're saying. Because this should be something that should really cause someone who's truly, truly repentant to stop and consider their ways. And this is something you should do anyway. If there's something you're doing that is causing harm to other beings, and you have other options, which you do. You're not that old desert scenario people like to say, well, what if you're on a desert island and there's nothing else to eat besides an animal? As I mentioned in my book, Why Every Christian Should Be a Vegan, if there's an animal on that desert island, that animal's probably eating plants, so you could eat those plants that the animal's eating. You don't have to eat the animal. There's always this nonsense that people don't even think about what they're even saying. And so with that, I want to encourage you to get my book, Why Every Christian Should Be a Vegan, because when you embrace this pro-life position, the true pro-life position where you embrace all life, you want all life to thrive, then you're going to need some reinforcement, because you're going to get it from everyone telling you and trying to drag you back to the ways of death, drag you back to embracing evil, drag you back to praising torment and cruelty. So you'll need some reinforcement. My book, Why Every Christian Should Be a Vegan, will absolutely help you in that endeavor because it will give you the tools to see how the scripture outlines God's true plan for you is to eat plants. They were what's created for us to eat. And animals are here to be with us, not for us. They're not here for us to abuse or eat or treat cruelly. So if you go to christianveganism.com, you can get my book, Why Every Christian Should Be a Vegan. It will absolutely bless you. I pray this video is a blessing for you, and I pray that you'll really consider what I've said and stop and really ponder and pray about it, because you'll see the truth is you need to become truly pro-life and embrace all life, which will include becoming a Christian vegan. My friend, I pray this is a blessing for you. May God bless you richly.